What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rosie TV. It's Safe here, and today we're going to be talking about the PFA Player of the Year. So just recently, the PFA released their PFA Team of the Year, so I guess it's the perfect time to talk about who's the best player of the year in terms of the Premier League. And there's really just two names out there that are really competing for it, and that's Mohamed Salah of Liverpool and Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City. Now, looking at their statistics, it's really hard to compare these two players because one of them is a central midfielder and the other one is a free-roaming winger. So you can't really take their goals and assists and compare them because the positions are so different. But at the same time, I'm going to try my best here to compare the two players and just to see who probably had a bigger effect on their team and who's just the best overall player. Now, the clear favorite as of right now is Mohamed Salah. I mean, he has all the accolades. I mean, he's scored 30 goals this season in his first season in the Premier League. He's 2 goals away from breaking the Premier League record of most goals in a single season, which is crazy for someone who's playing, in his first season. And at Roma, I always thought he was a really good player, but he always felt like he had a mistake in him. He wasn't the best finisher. And I didn't really think that he was going to have this monster season at Liverpool. I don't think anybody thought that. But he's proved us all wrong. I think him and Klopp is just a match made in heaven. So he's right now the clear favorite. But I think some people are just too blind to look at the whole story, to look at everything, not just the goals. Because, the PFA, they do have this bad reputation of just giving it to the top goal scorer. Somebody who scores 30 goals a season. It seems like they're shoo-in to win it. Obviously, last year we had N'Golo Kante win it, which was, I think, a really good option. I felt like that decision really broke the mold, finally giving it to a more of a defensive player, which is something they usually don't do. But here, let's just look at the statistics between Kevin De Bruyne and Mohamed Salah. Obviously, Salah has more goals. He scored 30 goals this season, while De Bruyne has only scored 7. I mean, what can we say? De Bruyne is a central midfielder. And you have to also remember, he's not just a midfielder, he's a central midfielder. This season and last season, Pep Guardiola has deployed De Bruyne in a free 8 role, which is something that he hasn't really played throughout his career. I remember that monster season at Wolfsburg, that 20 assist season that he had when Wolfsburg finished runners-up in the Bundesliga. He was playing as a number 10, an attacking midfielder. But De Bruyne usually plays alongside David Silva, above Fernandinho in those free 8 roles. So he does have more license to go forward, but at the same time, he's still a central midfielder by trade, or at least that's what Guardiola wants him to be. And obviously, he's done fantastic in that role. Looking at their assist numbers, De Bruyne has 15 assists to Salah's 9 assists. That's not really a big surprise. Salah has more of a goal scorer, and De Bruyne is obviously a playmaker. So that's obviously another thing that really isn't fair towards Salah. The first one, obviously, being the goals not being fair to De Bruyne. But just looking at the other statistics, you have to look at who's the overall best player. And for me, taking away my Arab bias, because I am an Arab, I love Mohamed Salah, I love what he's been doing in the Premier League, and no Arab has really made this big of a splash or hasn't really been talked about maybe since Zinedine Zidane. So I think, I love what Mohamed Salah is doing. I really hope Egypt do well in the World Cup. But taking that bias away, you have to look at the best overall player. Now, the best goal scorer, what do they get? They get the Golden Boot, which deservedly so. Mohamed Salah is probably going to get the Golden Boot. I don't see Harry Kane catching up to him. And I really hope Salah actually breaks that record of 31 goals. I hope he breaks it. I hope he gets that 32 goals. And his name will be written down in history. However, De Bruyne, in my opinion, is the overall best player in the Premier League. There's more to the game than just scoring goals. And Salah being that free-roaming attacker, the amount of goals he's had on the right wing is fantastic, but really thinking about it, he doesn't really play on the right wing. He plays anywhere in that front 3 because in Liverpool's system, the front 3 basically alternate throughout the whole game. So Salah, it's not really fair to call him a right winger. I would just say a forward and period. But De Bruyne, on the other hand, being a central midfielder, the assist number is one thing, but the assist thing isn't really something I like to look at, because I think the assist number is a very overrated stat. There's a lot of players who don't have great attackers in front of them, therefore their assist numbers aren't that good. Now, obviously, De Bruyne has some great attackers in front of him, but just looking at his other statistics, I think another stat you have to look at is total chances created, which De Bruyne actually has 102 chances created in the Premier League this season. Now, when I read that, that blew my mind. That's an insane number of chances created in probably the most competitive league in the world. I don't want to say the best league in the world, but definitely the most competitive. Looking at some other playmakers in world football, especially Leo Messi, who's considered by many the best playmaker in the world, and also considered by many the best player in the world. Messi, on the other hand, has created 77 chances, obviously as of recording, in La Liga. Still a fantastic number, but De Bruyne has 102. Now, that is just, for me, that alone should just give him the player of the year, because when you're creating that many chances, you are literally the heart and soul of your team. And I know Manchester City have a fantastic team, but I really doubt they'd be this successful and walk the league this easily if it wasn't for De Bruyne. I'm not taking away from Salah's amazing goal tally, and even Salah actually has 57 chances created this season, which is fantastic. But at the same time, I don't think overall, looking at every single aspect of the game, he is not the best player. He is the best goal scorer in the Premier League this year. De Bruyne, for me, has to get the best player award, and I think he's had such a monster season. For me, I think he's up there with the best central midfielders in the world easily. And just looking at this season alone, he's probably the best central midfielder in the world. That being said, for me, the ginger from Manchester City, Kevin De Bruyne, deserves the PFA Player of the Year award. And yes, Salah could break this record, but it's really not all about that. If you break the record, fantastic. You get the Golden Boot award. You're a fantastic goal scorer. I don't think he should get the PFA Player of the Year award just based off breaking that record. Now, I just want to make a sports reference here in general, not a football reference, but looking at basketball last season, Russell Westbrook, who, if you guys don't know, is a point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook last season averaged a triple-double, and if you guys don't know what that is, that's basically double digits in points, assists, and rebounds the whole season. He played out of his skin, but he was given the MVP basically just based on that, which obviously it's still a huge feat, something we haven't seen in the modern era. But this season, he averaged a triple-double as well, but since, we've already seen it before last year, he's not really in the MVP conversation. You see, James Harden is basically running away with it. So I don't really like how people just look at the record thing and say if he breaks the record, he needs to win the Player of the Year award. Those are two very different things, being an amazing goal scorer and being the best player. And overall, Kevin De Bruyne is the jack of all trades in the Premier League, and he deserves the PFA Player of the Year award. And for me, I do think it's close, but for me, De Bruyne is still the clear winner. So tell me what you guys think of this whole PFA Player of the Year thing. Obviously, it's really hard to compare central midfielders with wingers or just players that don't play in the same position, period. But I want to see your thoughts on who should win the award, and just try to factor in all the things that I told you about. Don't just look at the whole record thing. I'm Safe from Rosie TV. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more football content. Also, I have a wrestling channel, Rosie Wrestling, which I do with my sister. So if you're a fan of professional wrestling, go subscribe to that as well. The link will be in the description. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.